You guys, it was during the detective. You don't want to vote all the detective.
Yeah, you don't. That's one bad thing to do.
So basically, unless you're
the villains.
Unless you're a villain.
All right. So are we down to vote? Let's do some voting. So from what I was understanding, Robin. People thought Robin was the villain. Does it? Who wants to vote for
but
that?
I'm not sure anymore.
Yes,
I'm
me.
voting Robin.
You're voting Robin. Anyone
no
else?
reason.
Anyone else?
I'm just
Okay,
watching
no one.
this
Who's
Wonder
voting
Woman
for
werewolf
Calvin?
thing. Getting ready for the
No one.
Justice
Okay.
League Suicide Squad
Connie.
Justice League
Anyone
thing.
voting for Connie?
But this is just hilarious. So I just want, in case you guys aren't watching, you should watch this.
Just for the fun of it, anyone voting Jonathan? No, and Jesse?
Jonathan, I'll do it. Just come on, somebody back me up here. There's got to be somebody who believes
I'm
that
just a sweet
Jonathan
young
could
man.
be like. Come on, Jesse. Just give it up. Just help me out.
Connie, I think it's time. I think you got voted out.
Uh-oh.
Connie. Unfortunately, she was the civilian. I will confirm that.
Wow. I think it's Robin and Kristen.
Wow. The numbers are going down. So we have 2 villains on the board currently, and we have 3 civilians, including superhero and detective. All right. So let's jump into the next round. Round 4. Everyone, please close your eyes.
Jesus.
Everyone, wake up. Seems that the villains are back at it again, and they were able to successfully capture someone. Kristen, unfortunately, was captured last night in a dreadful match.
Really
so who could we assume did that?
So it's Jesse
There's
then.
4 of you guys.
Jesse and Robin.
Probably Kelvin.
And now I think it's Jonathan.
Can everyone reveal their writing utensil? That is a teacup.
Oh, that's a stapler.
I think it's Jonathan.
So he was the detective.
No.
I don't know who the
No.
You think Jonathan, do you have anything to say to defend your case? Do you know any information?
really need
Are
to
you
defend
guessing
myself.
anyone?
I'm innocent.
You don't need to defend yourself?
No.
No? Okay.
These guys will put
fair
themselves into a circle, the villain.
Jonathan's in England. He's like, I just need to go get a pint.
He's trying to get a London pride.
He's in Phoenix, Arizona. The accent is a whole thing.
It's a facade, see?
Part of my disguise, isn't it?
Okay. Robin was trying to vote out Kristen as the villain, and we've now revealed that Kristen was not a villain. And wait, who else voted for Connie?
Everyone, I think.
Is it Kelvin? Did Kelvin vote for Connie?
Yeah.
All right.
I did think it was Connie.
Yeah.
But we've had a long
But we're
run
pretty sure you're the detective now.
Gone back like a decade.
But
Connie.
so everyone is sure that Calvin is a detective. Is it true? Is it false? We don't know, but we are sure.
So it's between Kristen, Jesse, and Kelvin? And Jonathan?
No, it's between Jesse, Jonathan, and Kelvin. And you.
And Robin.
I keep going back to Jonathan. Sorry.
Jonathan.
God bless you, man. I don't know why.
I feel like Calvin is not the detective after all.
I don't know. It's
all right.
It's definitely Robin.
Insular thought thing.
Oh, who would we like to vote out? Let's do a vote for Jonathan. Who's voting for Jonathan?
Vote for Robin.
Okay, we got 2. Jesse, 3. Well, I don't even think we can vote for anyone else.
Jesse,
Jonathan.
that was not the right
unfortunately,
move.
You're out. You're out, man. You're out. Do you want to reveal what you are?
I was a civilian, man.
I actually think that was the last round because the villains did win this game.
It's Robin
Villains, would you like to reveal yourself?
and Kelvin.
I knew it!
This is my weapon.
Somebody saw you with that pen.
It was Jesse. I told you, Jesse. She should have voted for Robin.
So Robin and Kelvin were the villain Gal was the detective.
Oh.
Pedro was the superhero.
I'm so sorry.
Kelvin,
Did I capture you?
that was slick.
Yeah, you get to invest. So you chose. I think the first one was Pedro. You chose to. Yes, and I said that he wasn't a villain.
I didn't want him out of the game.
Yeah, well, he wasn't a villain, so I told you that no, he was not a villain. So, but he got captured, and he should have saved himself, because if he saved himself, then he wouldn't have been captured.
Pedro, yes. You were like.
Instead, I saved Robin.
Oh, stupid.
I feel like I know we're not gonna do that, but I feel like now we need to start to play the
I know.
game.
Now I know I would never trust Robin, not a day.
Yeah.
She would beat herself out.
Oh, they have such great chemistry. I love it. I love it playing a game too. I love that Fiona from Rooster Teeth's here.
That's what I knew, but no one listened to me. It was
And I
a
was
smooth
Yeah,
civilian.
Kristen was on her.
I really enjoyed watching you work.
Robin reading an article. That was not reading. I read
Well,
it.
well, thank you everyone for coming and playing.
See, I was
the
saying this on another server.
Werewolf
Every panel
1984.
just makes
That
me more
was a lot
excited
of
for
fun.
whatever
Thank
they're
you.
promoting. And
Good
at
job,
first was Wonder
everyone.
Woman,
So much.
then we went to Flash. I actually got a little bit hyped for that.
Fans, thanks so much
Suicide
for
Squad
watching,
started
and
getting me
enjoy
hyped.
the rest of DC fandom.
The Gotham Knights one, obviously.
Now, our
Black
next
Adam
local
was
host
like,
is fluent in everything
I was
from
riding high
games
off
to
that.
geeks.
Now I'm back to
She's
Wonder
Tech
Woman.
Girl
It's
Sam Wright from South
all of
Africa.
these, man.
Take it away,
All
Sam.
these freaking streams.
Thanks, Gino. Hello, world. Sam Reicher, and I am so excited about the amazing content we have in the DC fandom. There is so much to see and do. Now, gaming is my passion, and I am hyped
Okay, let's
because
see
we
this.
have
Suicide
another
Squad kills the
announcement
Justice
from Warner
League.
Brothers Games. I think we should share the killer news with you. And who's going to do it? The one and only Will Arnett.
Will Arnett. Okay.
Ow! Son of a bitch, that hurts. Golly. DC, you have the cheapest teleporters. That hurts. All right, fan domers. I think I know why I'm here. Check this out.
Okay, why do we need Will Arnett for that? Let's go. Brainiac? The creators of the Arkham, yeah. That's definitely Brainiac. This animation though, look at this. This art style.
Give me a sit rep. I've got eyes on the target.
Sounds like Harley.
Where the hell are you?
Maybe Amanda Waller.
We lost the target. Repeat. Task Force X has lost the target. Damn it. Argus 3 is taking heavy fire. Get to Park Ridge ASAP. Don't worry, boss. We got this. Hey, Boomer! Lay down
Boomerang.
some fire.
Keep it down, Hal. The ears are still ringing after that last Barney.
Deadshot, obviously.
What is that?
Staples.
Australian for hangover?
King Shark.
I believe I can translate. Boomerang has a concussion. From the enemy you missed in our last encounter. Guess those teeth are sharper than your eyes, Shark Man. I never miss.
Never miss. Yeah, we bloody know. You never shut up about it.
Task Force X. Alpha target is in the open. Get your asses to the Metropolis Grand Hotel and engage. Before I have another reason to blow those bombs in your heads.
Shit.
Not the Outcast. He's got teleporting boomerangs. Is that what's going on? What's up with these people and teleporting gadgets? vibing. Okay, this looks a lot different than the Arkham series.
Smooth. Well, that should knock a few years off the old sentence.
That's reminded me of something. Oh yeah! Waller's stupid alpha target. Who are we supposed to be killing again?
The Justice League. Superman. Are they
Look,
Brainiac?
Superman.
Is that why?
The mighty Superman has just rescued that pilot.
What a show off. Beat it, Spandex! We're on a top secret assassination mission here.
Yeah, he's gonna drop him. Or punch him or something.
No.
Yep. That's your alpha target.
So, figure out who we're killing yet?
Eh.
Oh, fuck!
Squad up.
Shouldn't have done that, Shark.
2022. That's okay. Okay, we'll have time to play Gotham Knights then.
Wow. Okay. Very dangerous. Yeah, that's
It's looking very
more
co-op.
dangerous than they said it would be.
I'm hoping it's it looks like
Come
a
on,
like
get me
a
out of here.
I don't know, like
Please.
co-op beat 'em up kind of thing.
Hello.
Oh, I got someone! I got someone!
Okay. I'm sorry. Who are you?
Who am I? Who am I? I'm Harley freaking Quinn, fart face. Who are you?
Wow.
Hey, Jerks, come here.
Hey, who is it? A new lawyer? You gotta help us, mate.
No. I'm sorry. No, I'm not a lawyer. Although I probably played one once. But no. I'm Will Arnett.
Will Arnett? I'm your biggest fan. Bojack was the only thing that kept me
Oh.
going in Bel Rev. Every night. Starved. Tortured.
Why is Boomerang an Arkham?
Wait. An actor? Great. Hang up, Quinn.
No. Wait. Hang on. Don't hang up. Look, maybe I can help. What seems to be the problem?
It's Waller. She wants us to kill the bloody Justice League. We're way out of our depth here. We need to get out of this insane mission.
Speak for yourself. I can see the headlines now. Harley Quinn finally kills the bat.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. That is the can-do attitude that I'd expect from a group called the Suicide Squad.
That moniker does not bode well for our chance of success.
All right. Well, I tell you what. Why don't you just give me the rundown? Who are you guys? What kind of powers you got? I mean, what are we working with here?
Captain.
Sure thing, William. The name's Harley Quinn, and you could say I'm the leader of our little task force. I like baseball bats, explosives, dead superheroes, things that go kablooey, and the Great British Bake Off.
I'm Deadshot. Team leader. World's deadliest assassin and most dangerous marksman alive. And I'm...
You may call me King Shark. I am a demigod, the rightful ruler of the seas, and therefore the true team leader.
And last but not least, the one, the only, Captain Boomerang. I'm what you call a supervillain. But don't try calling me the leader of this sorry lot. No, thank you. Leaders are the first to get their heads blown off.
Okay, so what? And forgive me, you throw boomerangs?
Exactly. Don't know why it took everyone else so long to get it.
Aw, sweetie, we just didn't care.
Okay, well, I mean, does anyone have laser vision or like a kryptonite-powered suit or?
Well, you might have us confused with Lex Luthor.
Well, there's gotta be a way. I mean, the world is depending on you guys, right? When I look at you, I don't see a drunk or a killer or an evil clown lady or a giant monster.
Hey, who are you calling a giant monster?
No. You see, what I see heroes.
You must not have heard of us. We ain't your heroes.
Okay, fine. Criminals ready money to pay back society and earn themselves a full pardon.
Full pardon? That ain't bad. Well, do we get to kill them all? Even Flash?
Yes, the mission is literally called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That is kind of the whole point.
Ooh, do I get to, like, devour them and gain their powers?
I don't know, is that a thing? I mean, I can't see why not.
All right, screw it. If we're gonna die on a mission, might as well do it paying back those self-righteous pricks.
Then it is decided. Let us do it for acclaimed actor Will Arnett.
Oh.
Will!
Okay.
Will!
Yes, thank you. I do what I can with my looks and my steely soft voice, and of course my looks. I don't know if I mentioned that.
Okay. Well, yeah, they didn't. They don't have a lot to show
thank
for
you
this.
guys. I really appreciate it.
Kind of a letdown, but
Take care, Will.
whatever.
Huge fan, like literally the biggest
You know,
one.
I think having like 2 more on the roster would have been cool.
Yeah. I have a feeling that things are about to get really messy.
We'll see.
Would you please get me the hell out of here?
Yeah, they still have 5 minutes left for their panel. Who knows? Maybe they'll.
We're not doing this, right? Not a chance.
That still stings.
You in the watchtower now?
I mean, it beats the subway, but. Whew. Oh. Hey, you must be Sefton.
I am indeed. Hi, Will.
Hey, man, Sefton Hill from Rocksteady Studios, y'all. Sefton, how'd you get here? Did DC also teleport you into the cyberspace realm?
No, they just sent me this green screen for my house.
Ooh.
Is it? You got a green screen? Good. That's neat. Lucky for you. DC actually teleported me into the fandom, which really hurts. But good. Green screen. You're lucky. Cool. Good for you. Okay. Well, I guess look, the cat is finally out of the bag here. This is Rocksteady's new game, and there is a lot of anticipation behind it. Right? And
It's a nice
Arkham
logo,
games
actually.
are
Now that I look
extremely
at it,
popular,
the C turns
and
into a
buzz
U.
has been building behind this new game. So, what can you tell us?
It's a big departure
I'm
from the
really
Arkham games,
excited
though.
and proud to be able to
Very-
reveal Rocksteady's Suicide Squad. You know, it's a unique new
Gotham Knights
franchise
is
for gaming,
the-
and we've been able to put our own spin on it and create something
heir
really
to
special that I think
the
gamers are
Arkham
going to
games.
love and enjoy. Obviously, it's brought to you by the team that created Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and Arkham Knight. And in fact, this is a continuation of the Arkham verse. So a lot of the through threads and the storylines you're going to see come to fruition in this game. So we've been able to combine all of that core DNA
there is a
with
sequel
some really
confirmed.
great, unique innovations and create what we think is going to be a totally original gameplay experience.
Okay, well, that's awesome. But let me just ask you this. Why this game? Why Suicide Squad?
Well, when we're starting any game, Rocksteady games are all about a character-driven game. You know, it's all about that kind of heart and soul of the characters that we want to bring to life. So we worked with DC. We looked at, you know, all the different properties, all the different great characters that they have. And Suicide Squad really spoke to us because of how fascinating these flawed characters are and the fact that it's fusing all of these characters together. When you're creating a game, you're creating a universe and you want to build it with real heart and soul inside it. And that's what really inspired us to make the Suicide Squad game because, you know, DC have these fantastic roster of villains, and being able to actually play these villains and see the interaction and life between them is something that got us really energized and excited.
I guess for me, my biggest question, and really probably everybody's biggest question that they want to know is, and no offense, but what is wrong with you, man? Why are you making a game about a group of bad guys taking on some of the most beloved heroes of all time?
Well, I think for us, we always want to put our characters in interesting and exciting and dynamic situations, and it felt like the Suicide Squad naturally really lends itself to that. You know, even just starting with their boss, Amanda Waller, you know, she's part protagonist, but also part antagonist. You know, she's stuck these nanite bombs in their heads, and she's forcing them to do this impossible mission, this mission to take on and kill the Justice League. And I think that's where you always find, I think, the magic is when you can put characters in these situations that are absolutely impossible. And then to a certain extent, these things kind of write themselves because once
Like
you've got
King
that
Shark
premise,
got
you
hit,
just let
actually.
that live and breathe. And you
He's
think,
kind of
right,
like,
well,
what?
how the hell can the Suicide Squad kill the Justice League? How can that even happen? And really, that's the genesis of the game. And then it's down to us to take the player on this journey and tell this story of how that could even be possible.
hearing that, let's get into it. Let's get into the nitty gritty, the stuff that the hardcore gamers like me want to know. Exactly what kind of game is this?
Yeah.
What am I doing in this game?
So the game is a hybrid of Rocksteady's experience in bringing characters like Batman to life, that superhero empowerment, combined with really powerful, awesome gunplay. So the superhero empowerment, I guess supervillain empowerment here, is looking at each one of the individual squad members and looking at what's unique about them and transferring this into this really powerful gameplay and using, that, again, those skills and techniques that we've learned over the years, but actually adding more richness and depth to each of them. So
it's
each
an
one of them has a richer
FPS,
moveset, more things you can do, and
a
more
la
skill required to
Overwatch,
master them
Valorant,
than you even had with Batman. So
Apex,
to do that across the spectrum of Suicide Squad members has been something that's been really enjoyable, and I'm really proud of what the team have achieved there.
A Borderlands
and then
kind
you
of
can combine
thing.
that with the gunplay, you know, the awesome weapons you're developing over the course of the game, combined with the melee weapons that you have, like Deadshot's wrist cannons, Harley's baseball bat, sharp-wielding twin cleavers, and special enhanced traversal moves you can use, like Deadshot doing a fuel dump and setting enemies on fire. You know, so it's really about creating a whole spectrum of possibilities for the player to use and just letting them loose and enjoying them as much as they can.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Let's take a couple questions now. We've got a question from Altair from the UK, and he wants to know, what has been the most exciting part about working on this new game?
Well, I think one thing we were really excited about was to bring Metropolis to life. So Metropolis itself is really the fifth character in the game, and it's something we've treated the same with Gotham in Arkham City, Arkham Knight, was giving this city life beyond just kind of bricks and mortar and making it something that really speaks to the player and being able to realize it to a level of detail that's never been done before in any medium. So we created this open world over which the game takes place, and I think it's really a love letter from us to DC fans. I think they're going to love it and really enjoy it, and it's something that I'm really proud of. Team have done a phenomenal job with that.
We have another question here, also from the UK, which is, you're from the UK, and both questions are from the UK, so somebody do the math. But Ellis from the UK wants to know, with the Suicide Squad game that's coming up, will we be playing as every character from the squad or just one? And if it is just one, which character is it going to be? Guess want some help killing Superman.
Well, the game itself, the structure of the game is it's a 1 to 4 player co-op game. So if you want
that's
to
what it
play
looks
single
like.
player, you can totally play single player. I mean, our mantra has been that you play this game how
sounds
you
like
want to
a
play it. So
Borderlands,
if you play
but
single player, you'll
inside
still
the
have a
DC
full squad
universe.
with you. You'll have 2 players, 2, 3, 4 will be filled by bots who will fight along with you and really join in the fun and obviously give you that squad experience. But if you want to play multiplayer with your friends, that's still absolutely great. They can join in and take the role of the other squad members. And the great thing is that that's a dynamic experience. So you can play some of the story single player, some multiplayer. The whole game is accessible, single player, multiplayer, in and out of those 2 modes, however you want to do it. So it's really something that we just want to give up to the fans and let them choose. And of course, if you're playing single player, the other cool thing is you can even switch between the characters. You're never locked to any particular character for any particular section of the game. So you want to play as Deadshot, jetpacking around, sniping enemies, you can do that. And then boom, just instantly switch to playing as Harley, swinging around and flying into enemies with a baseball bat around the head. So there's so much freedom in the way you play the game because we really wanted to get across that feeling of being a whole squad and not just one person going on this mission.
Lastly, I'd like to know, if it's okay with you, if can I be in the new game? I'm not saying Task Force X. I'm just saying maybe just like a random handsome guy who's, you know, hanging out in Metropolis, just being handsome and dodging chunks of debris.
I think we can maybe make something work, Will.
Great. Well, then it's settled. That's awesome. That's the contract. Thank you for joining us, Sefton. It's the game looks absolutely spectacular, and it will be made even better by the appearance of me as an NPC.
It's still
Sure thing, Will. Good luck teleporting.
still a year plus out.
I've made a huge mistake.
Are you kidding me? That game looks insane. Talk about turning the tables.
Calm down. It's not that good. It's still a year out, so I'm not putting too much stake in that. But you know, I hope we get to learn more and get to see more because right now I'm Gotham Knights is closer. It's gotten more hyped for it. You know, it feels more like a spiritual successor to the Arkham games. Whereas this feels more like, again, like some sort of power shooter. couch co-op. You know, it's only taking place in Metropolis, so it just feels very small, and simple right now. You know, classic roster of Harley, Deadshot, Boomerang, and King Shark. Classic characters there. Cool that it's going to be spiritually succeeding the actual Arkham series with, you know, Harley. Thinking about that now, Harley would be from the same series. Deadshot, I'm pretty sure we've seen Deadshot in Arkham Knight. You know, just being able to see these characters now. But we're gonna start the Batman.
There is no place that I would rather be than right here with you right now in this hallowed place where we all get to come together to celebrate us, the fans, and all things DC. And I've got to pinch myself right now to make sure I'm not dreaming, because we have the man who is starring in the next feature film incarnation of one of DC's most popular characters of all time. We're talking more than 80 years here, guys. So ready your bodies, because here is the Batman, Robert Pattinson.
Art by Jim Lee, which is awesome.
As many of you probably already know, we were in the beginning stages of production when COVID hit, so now I'm very anxious to get back to work and continue to form this beloved character. I've always been a massive fan. I'm not really allowed to share anything, so I'm going to hand it over to the great Matt Reeves, who's somewhere around here, and he can determine what can and can't be talked about. But I do know that if you stick around till the end,
I just woke up.
There's a cool surprise, so I hope you enjoy.
Robert, literally just like dead inside. It's fine.
Matt,
it's
I'm
fine.
so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, as Robert said, it's super early to tell us much about the movie, but I think what's exciting about where we are with DC and with this franchise specifically is that there's been a multiverse of Batman, right? And now you're taking over this particular iteration of Batman. What made you want to tell a Batman story? I mean, this is a heavy lift. What was it that drew you to this character in this world?
Look, I love Batman, and I've loved Batman since I was a kid. And I never even imagined, when I began making movies, that I would do genre movies, because I just loved certain kinds of movies that were very character based. And it's really interesting that as I got deeper into genre, I realized that that was a way to do very emotional stories, but under the guise of these sort of great mythic tales. And in particular, what excited me, and the thing I related to in the Batman story, was that he isn't a superhero in the traditional sense. He might have a cape, but he can't fly. He's like you and me, but if he has a superpower, it's the ability to endure. And not only the ability, but the kind of compulsion. And so that idea of being that driven by your past and by the things that you can't quite resolve in yourself, like, he's a very alive character. And to me, to tell a version of Batman where, again, it wasn't about how he became Batman, but it's about the early days of how he is Batman, and he is so far from being perfect, and watch us sort of see him becoming what we all know about him and see it in new ways. I felt like that was a way to do something that hadn't been done, and that was really what I was excited to be able to do in this iteration.
You have said that all of us imagine ourselves, or have imagined ourselves to be Batman. And I know that's why I love those stories from the time I was a kid, because he didn't come from another planet, right? He doesn't have magical powers. He's just a guy that wants to do good.
And that's the thing. The other question is, what is good? One of the things that I think is interesting is learning how to be Batman. The whole idea, this is all an experiment in the movie. The idea is that we're in year 2. It's the Gotham experiment. It's a criminological experiment. He's trying to figure out sort of what he can do that can finally change this place. And in our story, as he's in that mode, that's where you meet him, and you see that he is charting what he's doing, and he's seeing that he's not having any of the effect that he wants to have yet. And that is when the murders start to happen, and then the murders begin to describe sort of the history of Gotham in a way that only reinforces what he knows about Gotham, but it opens up a whole new world of corruption that went much farther. But as that story starts to come out, without being an origin tale for him, it ends up being something that touches on his origins. So you start to see that as it starts to describe this epic history of corruption in Gotham, that you start to understand, well, where did my family sit in that? And that sense, I think all of that is a way to take a story that is a detective story, a very point of view story, a mystery. It's got, of course, action, all that kind of stuff. But at the end of it, it also is incredibly personal for him, even though it is the story in which he's trying to understand and unravel this mystery.
It's so layered. I'm really excited about it. Speaking of what we know about Gotham, you've revealed some of the characters in this story, and the casting is just extraordinary.
They're amazing. I mean, we have, Paul Dano plays a version of the Riddler that no one has ever seen before. And it's really exciting. He's such an incredibly creative actor. And so what he is doing, I think, is going to blow people's minds.
Is that it's going to be too samey.
Zoe Kravitz,
especially
her iteration of Selena Kyle.
The Dark Knight trilogy.
To me, that's incredibly exciting. You have an iteration that
hoping,
you've never seen of
I'm
what
really
she's
hoping,
doing.
I'm trusting
but it
that
touches
he
on all
will
these kind of
make
iconic
it unique.
sort of things that people know from the comics. So it's always about trying to square
its own entity, especially the characters,
sort of
especially Batman
what
himself.
Also is
because
new,
right now
and
the story.
And that is really part of, I think, the exciting sort of process of making a Batman movie, which is to find a way to make it your own and to find a way for the actors to make it their own, and yet still connect to all of these things that people also go, oh, that's my Selena. I know who that is. And I guess the one thing about the Rogues Gallery is that it actually, in a weird way, is the origins of a lot of our Rogues Gallery characters. So, like, Selena isn't Catwoman yet. That's actually part of the journey. Oz is not yet the Kingpin that he's going to become. He's the Penguin. In fact, doesn't like being called the Penguin. And the Riddler is just emerging for the first time. So that's all incredibly exciting. And then we have, like, to have
it's a lot of
Andy
origins
Serkis, who
of the
is,
villains, which
I
are
work
villains
with
that we haven't
H
really seen
movies.
too
He's one
much
of the most beautiful actors, and he is playing an iteration of Alfred that I feel like people have never seen before, which is really exciting to share with people. And then we have an incredible, for me, I just think that Jeffrey Wright is just one of the great actors, and to be able to work with him in a totally new iteration of Gordon. And then we have, the amazing John Turturro, who's going to be a Carmine Falcone, who, again, I think in this iteration, you've never seen that version before. And how all these characters connect, I think, for me, was one of the challenges but also exciting things about the creation of the story, which is that in going on this sort of desire to solve, or the urge and the compulsion to solve this series of crimes, you touch on all of these iterations of the beginnings of these characters, so that the whole movie is it's like a snowball rolling. You can just feel the momentum building and building, and that's the attempt.
It's exciting to be able to talk to you in the middle of making this, this incredibly rich undertaking. And you're an incredibly busy man, not just this film. It's just announced that you're going to be working on the Gotham PD series you're developing with writer Terrence Winter. How are these two projects going to dovetail? How are the series and the film's worlds going to overlap or connect?
Yeah, totally. I mean, for me, the idea of this story was a story in which Gotham, which has this sort of depth of corruption, and then the idea that we could actually do a series that is going deeper into an aspect of it, which in this case is the corrupt police department, the corrupt inner workings of the city, and the way we're going to do the series, which is, I'm incredible. Terrence Winter is just like an incredible writer. So the idea that we got him to do this, just is literally a dream. And the idea is we go back to year one, and year one is the beginning of the emergence. It's the first appearance of this masked vigilante that starts to unsettle the city, and you start to see the story through the point of view of these corrupt cops, and one in particular, and the story is actually a battle for his soul. And he's a cop over generations, and the history of corruption in Gotham is enormous and goes back many years. And the story is like, as you realize that there's this myth building in the background, you're actually in a new place where you've never seen these characters before, some of which we'll touch on that you may have seen from the comics, but others totally new. Then you can go down an avenue and go into detail that you couldn't do in a movie, and to go into these sort of rich places and meet entirely new characters that Terrence is going to create. And I'm incredibly excited about it.
That's awesome. Like I said, it just dimensionalizes that multiverse that much more and adds that much more depth to it. Now, as you know, Matt, here in the DC fandom,
sounds
it's
like
not just a
the crime
celebration of all the
procedural that
superheroes and the villains
Gotham
that we love, but
was supposed
most
to be.
importantly, it's a celebration of the fans. So we have some questions
see how
for
it
you
goes.
straight
I mean, are they gonna have
from
Jeffrey Wright in there? Is that what?
the fanverse, okay?
What kind of cops are you
So,
showing here?
Here we go.
Because they have
All
to
right.
have
This
some
question
overlap.
comes
Otherwise,
from
like,
Arvin in
what
the
is the
UAE.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of
yes,
thing,
when
you
it
know?
comes to costume design and the collaboration processes behind it, to what extent were stars able to implement their own influence within the design?
That's a good question. You know, actually quite a bit. I mean, we have, of course, an incredible costume designer, Jacqueline Duran, and the bat suit was designed by Glenn Dillon, and they're geniuses. I mean, it's great to work with them, but one of the things that's really important is being able to work with the actors. Like Rob had a very important part in designing the suit in that he had to be able to wear it, he had to be able to fight in it. And one of the things about this bat suit is that it's very practical. The whole idea is that he's made it himself. And so we needed to be able to sort of see how it would fit on him in these ways that he could move, but also looked like it was something that was still evolving. And even the idea of the story, he's in year 2, so he's been wearing it. So like, he goes every night looking for trouble. So you look at his cowl and you can actually see there are gashes in it. And all of that detail was an incredibly exciting sort of dialogue between me and the costume designers and then having Rob involved. And so, yeah, I mean, the actors have a lot to do because you always do a dialogue with everyone so that we can arrive at the thing that feels the most grounded, the most honest, and the most character-based.
I'm just hoping everybody got pockets.
You know why, too? I will tell you this. One of the big things that Rob actually talked to Christian Bale, and Christian Bale was like, just make sure you're going to be able to relieve yourself. So all of that sort of was actually part of what was important to build into it, which is like, okay, he needs to be able to put it on. He also needs to be able to live as a human being.
Okay, here's a video question from Pedro in Brazil.
Hi, I'm Pedro from Brazil, and I believe that one of the most important things about the whole Batman mythology is not just the characters such as Batman or the Joker, it's Gotham City itself. So I wanted to ask you, what should we fans expect to see from Gotham City in this film? Thank you.
You're absolutely right. Like, it's just as important as any of the Rogues Gallery. It's sort of like the nature of what this place is and the history of it is critically important to our story. And one of the things that I really wanted to do, because it is the center of this story, especially the history of corruption in the city, was I wanted to present it in a way that was really fleshed out. I wanted it to feel like an American city you'd never been to. I mean, other iterations have, you know, obviously the Burton one had very, very theatrical, beautiful, beautiful sets. And Nolan had the version that he created in Batman Begins, and that was a particular thing. And then parts of Chicago and parts of Pittsburgh. And what we're trying to do is create a version of it that you haven't seen before. So some of the locations that we've chosen, the idea is to take, let's say there's like we have like a Gotham Square. So that's like Times Square, right? Now, if we shot it in Times Square, then you'd be like, oh, I guess Gotham is New York. But in our case, it's actually going to be Liverpool. And the idea is to go to Liverpool where there's all the sort of the foundation of the Gothic architecture and then add all of the more modern structures through CG, but in a way that you're going to, when you see the movie, now that I've blown it, of course I've told you what it is, but you're like, hey, where's that city? Where did they shoot? And so the aspect of Gotham and realizing it has been, for me, one of the great pleasures in getting to mount the movie.
That's amazing. Evla from Germany says, it's already known that the movie is going to explore Bruce's second year as Batman. How do the citizens of Gotham perceive the vigilante?
Oh, that's a good question. Because it's still early and because he is a vigilante, which means he takes the law into his own hands. I mean, if you were in a city and there was a guy who dressed up as a bat and showed up out of the shadows and sometimes confronted those people and beat them up because he felt what they were doing was wrong so that he could sort of put the fear of God in them about the crimes that they're committing, I think we would wonder, well, gee, that guy sounds a little dangerous. He's not yet the vision of the character that he becomes, where he becomes a symbol of hope for the city. He's earlier in the trajectory, and so they're afraid of him, frankly. He's kind of a growing legend. I think there are some people who are wondering, does he exist? How exactly does he exist? And that legend is building day by day and has been since he made his first appearance about 1.5 years ago as we were in year 2. So yeah, the public is afraid of him. I mean, that's one of the things I think that he will confront in the course of the story and that Rob has to sort of deal with in playing the character, which is the idea of how he's perceived.
And speaking of Rob, Aditya in Indonesia has a video question.
What was the best part of Robert Pattinson that he was chosen as the new Batman?
I mean, the thing about Robert Pattinson is he's an incredible actor. I feel like the work that he's done in the last I don't know, 6 years has been incredible. Like a friend of mine made a movie called Lost City of Z, and Rob appeared in that movie, and I was like, who is that guy? He had just such charisma, and Rob in the movie has this incredible beard, and you're like, who is that? And it's Rob, and Rob in The Rover, and Rob in Good Time. He is like a chameleon, and he's just such a gifted actor, and he's been working on his craft in this really incredible way, and he also happens to be a tremendous, passionate sort of fan of Batman the way that I am, and so it was an incredible thing to be able to connect with him and to share our excitement about the character and to work with him. I mean, you know, he looks like Batman, but more than anything, he has the soul of someone, I think, that can play a Batman like you've never seen before.
Andy from Australia asks, how long did it take to build the Batsuit, Batmobile, and Batbike? And did you have to build a set to create the Batcave?
You know, it's funny. It's like stepping into your childhood in a certain way, because, you know, obviously the first thing you have to do is you have to craft a story that you think is worthy of the character. Really, but then once you've done that and it becomes like, oh yeah, we're making this movie, one of the things you have to do is you have to design a Batsuit. You have to design a Batmobile. You have to have a Batcave. You have to have Batbikes, all of the things that he's going to have. And so, you know, for me, that's been one of the exciting things, and that happened even before we were quite done with the last iteration of the script. You know, we'd already gone through passes, and it was quite clear what the vision of the world was being. While I'm writing, I actually already have a production designer on, and so he would be sending, as I'm writing scenes, I might send stuff to James, and he's like, oh, well, what about this for a Batcave? And so, yes, we had to build a set
I appreciate the likes. I don't know how I got 5 likes on this one.
I think it's an incredibly original and different set. I think it's
going
to be really fun for the audience to discover what version of exactly this Batcave is going to be. The Batmobile and the Batsuit, they took a long time. You know, I mean, Glenn came on quite early, and we worked in the designing of it, again, as I was writing, and the idea of him being able to fight in it. And so they started illustrating, and I'd say we spent easily a year to do the Batsuit and then to get into the Batmobile, and that, of course, that part's a dream. I mean, you know, the idea of getting to do your own version of the Batmobile is like, you're just kind of like, what? That's the incredible candy, right? Like the telling of a story is the hard work and trying to make sure that you're doing the right thing. And then when you get to dive into the idea of this car that, again, feels connected to this version of the character, a grounded version of the character, this is something that he built, and to try and look at those kind of rough seams and imagine how all that works, it's been an incredible sort of gift to be able to do that.
So much fun. Alejo from Argentina asks, what will be the main difference between this Batman and the other incarnations from previous films?
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's kind of what I want to know.
You know, as we said,
besides year 2.
It's not an origin tale, and you're meeting him in the early days. And for me, what's really important about this iteration is that, you know, a lot of the other stories are very much about how he had to master his fear and master himself in order to become Batman, and that in that Batman state, he's sort of in his best self. And I think for me, what was exciting was not doing that, not doing the origin, not doing what we'd seen done so beautifully in other movies, but instead to meet him in the middle of this criminological experiment, to see him in the becoming of Batman, and to see him make mistakes as Batman, and to see him grow and fail and be heroic, do all of the things that we associate with Batman, but in a way that felt very human and very flawed. The biggest fantasy, of course, as a kid would have been to be Batman. And so the idea of putting the audience in the shoes of that character and make the audience feel the way that he feels, I think that, to me, I hope is what's different about what we're doing, is to try and do it in exactly that sort of manner. And then, of course, the other things that are from the earlier history of the comics, like him being the world's greatest detective and how he got there, you know, those things have been touched on, but I don't know that they've been as central to the plot as they are in this particular Batman. So there's a lot of things I hope that will be totally different.
Cliff from Australia asks, what's one deep cut comic fans might be surprised to see has inspired the Batman?
You know, for me, because I wanted to get into the mindset of the character and I wanted to think of the psychology, for me, I think one of the cool deep dive ones was Darwin Cook's ego. He's confronting the beast that is Batman, and it's kind of, there's a kind of duality. I mean, there's a lot in what, you know, I was trying to do in the story about him confronting the shadow side of himself. The degree to which you have self-knowledge, you're able to understand your motivations, but he's broken, Batman. So while he's doing all of these things for the reasons that he thinks is right and that have a heroic sort of grounding in them, there's also many things that are driven by the parts of himself he doesn't yet know. And so I would say that that kind of sort of psychological Jungian shadow side, that sort of version of it is very much connected to that vision from Darwin Cook from Ego.
Yosef from Bolivia says, which non-Batman movie were Matt Reeves, yours, inspiration for the Batman?
Oh, well, because the movie is a detective story, because it is a thriller in the sort of cop world, and because it's about corruption, we're treating this Batman story as if this could have happened. I mean, the idea is that, as I said, Batman doesn't have this sort of the ability to have sort of super heroic powers. He just has super heroic focus and super heroic drive. And so, for me, a lot of movies like Chinatown was a key one, because Chinatown, Jake Gittes, in investigating that sort of the series of crimes that were part of that story, he discovers the depth of corruption in Los Angeles. And so in that way, it's like a classic noir. And that's very much the series of murders that Batman is investigating are very much in that mode. So Chinatown was a really big one. And that idea of that kind of gritty, flawed, this humanity of it, that was very much inspired by those kinds of movies, by like French Connection and other sort of cop movies like that.
Yeah, thanks.
I would say even
Thanks,
a movie
Elaine.
like Taxi Driver, the description of a place,
like I
and,
said,
and
I'm
very
not-
much getting inside of somebody's head. And
I
I
know,
guess a
I
lot
just-
of really
I kind of
sort
just want to see a Batman
70s,
that sucks.
street
If he
grounded
is such a,
stories.
So,
a
Matt,
year
one
or
of the
two
exciting things about
early
the
Batman, I just want to see a
Batman as a
Batman that gets his
character
ass handed
is
to
that
him. I want to
he's
see a
so
Batman
layered
that's just
and,
a terrible
and
person.
so kind of
Because we
intense
have
that
so many
you can dip
charismatic
into his
character
life at
Batmans.
different points, and none of these
Um,
different characters, these different iterations of the
I
Batman,
think to really separate
or
him would
Gotham,
be
or the
and
entire
capitalize
kind
on
of Batman universe as it was.
Robert Pattinson
will
would just be
tread
to make a
on
Batman that's
the
kind of an
ground that
asshole.
others have already covered.
Doesn't really know how to
Oh,
interact with
totally. I
people
mean,
because he is
for
such a
me, that's
loner.
exciting. Like the idea of the history
Sort of
of Batman,
grow
like
into
there-
that
just the idea
relationship
of
with
the
like
actors who
Catwoman
have
and
played
such.
Batman, like
With
Adam
Jim
West,
and
when I was a
learning
kid, like
learning
Adam
to
West,
interact with
that
people
was
again.
like when I was
After being such an
5 and
isolated character,
watching
that'd be
him
cool.
as Batman, like that blew my mind. I wanted to be Batman so badly. And then I remember when I was a little bit older, and then Keaton came onto the scene with the Burton movie, I was so excited they were going to do a theatrical version of that. And then the iterations that have followed, like so many incredible people. I mean, Bale was amazing. I mean, incredible. Everything that Chris Nolan was is astonishing. And I personally, I love Ben Affleck as Batman. I thought he was incredible. Like an iteration again that we hadn't seen. So like, in fact, I'm really excited because I know that they've got, Zach is going to be doing the new Justice League cut of his that he didn't get to do originally, and now he's getting to do it, and I can't wait to see that. So for me, the idea that there are sort of, first of all, to be a part of history like that is an incredible thing, and I do think that that's one of the things. It's kind of like the comics, you know. When you look at the comics, there are
Exactly.
so many iterations
Different
of Batmans.
artists,
There are so many
authors.
different people's Batmans. There's Neil Adams' Batman. There's, of course, there's Bob Kane and Bill Finger's Batman, and there's Frank Miller's Batman. There's so many Batmans, and so to me, that's one of the joys of being in the kind of comic book world, is to try and say, hey, what can we do to put our spin on this so that people can find a new way of looking at that character that they love.
I remember when the Dark Knight graphic novels came out when I was a kid, what a radical departure that felt like, how exciting that was.
Oh my God.
But it didn't erase all the ways that I had connected with that character previously. It just made the world richer and, more exciting. So.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, it's this strange thing of wanting to be able to find a way to come at it in some new way, and yet it has to be connected to that thing that you love. And that, for me, being part of that history and being part of all of that is sort of almost unbelievable. You have to pinch yourself.
So, Matt, before we wrap up, I think that what the fans really want is to get just even a tiny glimpse of what the film is going to look like. And, this is a fan experience. I'm hoping you brought us something we can show them.
It's fandom. And, having been to Comic-Con and all of that, I know you don't come without anything. And, look, we've only shot 25% of the movie, 25-30% of the movie, so there's so much. This is just scratching the surface, but there was no way that I could come here and not bring a look at the movie. So, yeah, I'm incredibly excited to share what is just the first tease of our movie, and I hope you guys like it.
Is that duct tape? Hell no. Oh, hell no. Who the... No more lies.
From your secret friend.
That's Gordon. That's Gordon. I believe it.
Haven't a clue. Let's play a game. Just me and you. Any of this mean anything to you?
Ooh. Who's that?
You're becoming quite a celebrity.
Oh, that's Robert? Damn. Damn. Oh
Why's he
my
writing to
god.
If you are justice, please do not lie.
That's Riddler.
What is the price
Okay.
for your blind eye?
The hell are you supposed to be?
I'm vengeance.
This guy's crazy.
I had to close my mouth. I had to.
You're part of this too. How am I part of it? You'll see.
I'm so excited for this film. It's amazing that you only shot, a quarter of it, and it's already feels so robust and intricate, and I can't wait to see the finished product.
It doesn't
Thank you
feel
so
all
much for
that,
being
Aisha,
here,
okay?
with me
Don't need to
and
put
with
all
the
those words in your mouth. But,
around the world who are so excited for this film. I know
definitely
I speak for them
gives me
when I say that we are
a lot
all
more hyped than what
super
Matt Reeves was
pumped
saying.
for the Batman.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here, and I'm really excited that we're going to get back to
he's putting
making this movie so
his
that you
work
guys can see it.
where his
Guys,
his words aren't
huge
working
thank you
too
to
much,
the
but
fans around the world for your dedication to DC and
his
honestly
actions,
for being the inspiration
they're-
behind the
they're-
whole
they're
DC fandom itself.
doing it.
We literally would not be here if it wasn't for you.
just see this wrap
You're
up and then
awesome.
I'll talk about the
And
Batman
for
fully.
those of you who are just joining us now, stay tuned for the Wonder Woman panel as our DC Fandom show starts from the top in just a minute.
Okay.
That is right. The same amazing programming and this incredible Hall of Heroes coming your way. So if you took a bathroom break and missed even a minute, do not move because the show is going to go on again. This is your opportunity to get exclusive insider information and special look.
Okay. She's done talking. Oof. Oh. I low-key trust this iteration of Batman. How do you mean? How do you mean by that? Because for me, the big thing that I liked about that trailer, I'm gonna see if it's already up on the web or what. Pretty much Overwatch. Yeah. Okay. Because we gotta slow that down a little bit. I don't know if they dropped it. A Batman trailer. That's definitely not it. It's not out yet. Anyways, yeah, very super excited for that. I got chills literally watching that. Okay, here it is on Twitter. Let me change my window. Okay. No, okay. Come on. I like that the Riddler seems to be the main focus. I don't know if they're gonna pull a surprise. I'm pretty sure that's Riddler there. Especially with the way that these ransom notes and stuff are. I feel like it's Riddler. But it might be Calendar Man if it's really taking
secret friend.
inspiration from Long Halloween.
Who?
Great Gordon already. He just that scowl. I was just like, that's Gordon.
Haven't a clue. Let's play a game. Just me.
Some interesting symbology here. They almost look like music symbols, some of them. Let's play a game, just me and you. What does a liar do when dead? Is that what it said? I can close this window. The right one. Nope. I'm on the wrong window. Wait, hold up. Here we go. Oh no. Where'd it go? Here we go.
Any of this mean anything to you?
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean direction from what it is in the trailer. Yeah, it's from what Matt Reeves was saying, I wasn't really picking up. Like I understood what he was saying, but I wasn't like sold on his iteration of Batman. But this trailer just it really resonated with me in a better way. And to think this is only a quarter of the movie, it feels like the fact that it's a quarter of the movie, it's really nice because there's so much more in store. This all feels pretty self-contained so far. About it's just the beginning of the movie maybe. Nice look for the Batman. I don't know who this dude is, the mayor or something.
You're becoming quite a celebrity.
I like grungy Batman right here. Like if they're gonna have a younger guy like Robert Pattinson do Batman, I think my biggest problem was that I was fearing it would be a lot of overlap with Christian Bale doing it, especially with the way Matt Reeves was saying, it's not a year one, it's a year two, and it's not an origin story and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, I know Batman Begins was an origin story, but The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Returns, or Rises rather, those ones were kind of year two-esque. So what are you doing to differentiate it? And I feel like Christian Bale's Batman, he was kind of a dick, but deep down, it felt like, I guess his Bruce Wayne persona was a dick, but deep down, he was caring and selfless, and it's not the man underneath that defines whatever, that famous speech. It just felt like so compassionate. But this Batman, this Robert Pattinson Batman, I feel like has the opportunity to be truly broken inside, especially with the way that Matt Reeves is saying it. And I want to see kind of like what Ben Affleck was doing with his, just a Batman that is brutal. We saw that here. Who's almost inhuman, and I want to see him sort of try to reconnect with his humanity, through working with Jim, working with a good cop, working to find justice, working with Selina, learning that you can help out people. Almost angsty teen Bruce, but like young adult trying to find their way in the world kind of thing. I don't think we've really scraped that surface in the movies yet. Someone's funeral. Catwoman, again, proto Catwoman. He said she's not really Catwoman yet. Sorry, I keep pausing the wrong times.
If you are justice, please do not lie.
If you are justice, please do not lie.
What is
awesome little fight there.
For your blind
what is the price for your blind eye? That's totally Riddler. He's got green on. Just and the kid in the background, just like, my God, please don't kill me.
I'm vengeance.
Whoa! This guy's crazy.
I like the theme too. Very simple.
You're part of this too.
How am I part of it?
You'll see.
Okay, I'm gonna pause here. Cause yeah, again, what was I gonna say? No, his Batman voice almost sounds like Christian Bale too. Not speaking voice. I don't know. His speaking voice almost sounded like Christian Bale. Um, so there's gonna be a lot of overlap. I feel like similarities between those versions. I think also just because that's one of the ones with the most, it's the most grounded, which is kind of what this is going for, versus like Matt Reeves was saying, there's Burtonverse, which is very theatrical, over the top, and then Ben Affleck, which is, its own little thing there. Anyways, yeah, I've said my piece about this. I really, I mean, this isn't coming out for like a year still. We're like a year out, and they're not even done filming yet. So there's a lot to be done still. I mean, we haven't even seen a glimpse of. I don't think Colin Farrell is there, right? He's Penguin. Um, John Turturro, I didn't see him, but I wasn't really looking for him to be honest. Falcone. Um, cool to see if I'm right. Riddler as the main villain. We don't, there was Batman and Robin, but one thing, that was a goofy movie. Another thing, it was a co-joint with Two-Face, whereas this one it feels like just from the cast we've gotten, maybe Falcone is one of the major antagonists, but it sounds like Riddler is going to be one of the major ones. Cobblepot doesn't sound like he's going to be like full-on Penguin villain yet. It sounds more like I could see them doing a way of building him up, his criminal empire, and then next movie he'll be his own entity. And then Selina, obviously, a whole nother wrench in the gears. I'm tired. This is good. Yeah, Matt Reeves is not not the most charismatic guy. I was honestly kind of falling asleep a little bit during his panel, but he knows what he's doing. Based on this footage here, based on the tone, what he's compiled together, he obviously knows what he's doing, and that's. I have some people I follow on Twitter, and they've I'm not really familiar with his work, but they've vouched for him that he is a great director, and I mean, just from this little 2-minute thing, I believe it. Can't wait to see it when it comes out eventually. Okay, that's enough for today. It's freaking 8 hours of streaming and watching DC stuff. Curious to see what your favorite panel of the day was. I'm not gonna cut down my streams, but I'll try and put timestamps in if you want to go back to watch the reactions and such. Um, yeah, thanks for watching. Uh, Non-DC stuff is coming, don't worry. But as far as DC goes, I believe September 12th was the day, right? September 12th we'll try and find some panels that I might want to watch. I think there's a Stargirl one, and some other Doom Patrol. Um, we'll check them out, see if they're worth recording and talking about. So yeah, until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk with you in the comments. Bye.